Alan Stratton from Woodturning. Recently in our club we had a demo of a platter with an Ogee curve. Consequently, we had a challenge for our club members to make a platter with an, of all things, an Ogee curve. So I decided to participate, and this is a small platter, but with an Ogee curve. Ogee curve being a bead followed by blended to a cove on the edge of a bowl. Very classical, pleasing shape. I had a problem though. The wood that I had that was slated for this was much too thick. I really didn't want to waste good walnut wood, just wasting it away to make a smaller platter. So in the process I made in effect two platters, one with an Ogee curve, one without. Then what do? Well, turns out that even before that we had a Saturday club to get together, and somebody brought a bowl that they had made, but unfortunately they had gone through the bottom. They were about to throw it away. I said, no, let's salvage, see if we can salvage it. So I brought it home and managed to get a little bit of a lip here that could manage something, so that was interesting. So we talked about that at the club meeting, and then somebody else said, well, then why can't we use this, which is the smallest inner bowl of a coring set, and can you put it all together? Well, yes. Well, unfortunately, this is not in the video, but yes, the platter with the Ogee curve is. So it's a twofer, but we'll go for it. The club challenge is to turn a platter with an Ogee curve on the bottom side. This is a piece of walnut. I'm not sure it is totally dry. It feels dry, but it is still wrapped in plastic. I do not believe it is completely dry. Live center pressure pulls it against a DIY spike plate. The spike plate is a faceplate with screws driven through it, but with just a point poking through the surface, just enough to engage with the walnut and keep it from shifting. One issue is that the wood is much thicker than what I would plan for this project, but I do not want to waste the wood. So maybe the challenge for me is to create two platters from one chunk of wood. I'll focus on flattening the bottom where the mounting mortise needs to be, then work to get the wood round and running true. All this primarily with my bowl gouge. As I said, the wood is too thick, but I do not want to waste it. So mark a good division with some masking tape. This will guide me in cutting an appropriate sized Ogee curve while I wait before splitting the wood. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's cut a mounting tenon sized for my largest chuck jaws. With the wood reverse mounted to the fresh tenon, I can work on the bottom to one of the two platters. In the middle is a mortise for a new expansion mount. However, the rim that it will sit on is a larger diameter. The wood in between the mortise and the rim has a tapered profile. The mortise is shallow, but with the additional wood between the rim and the mortise will prevent splitting. I like this profile as it keeps the mortise shallow and attractive. Time to reverse the wood again using the new mortise for an expansion mount. After removing the sacrificial tenon, I can cut a profile with this side similar to the opposite side. A center shallow mortise, a rim further out, and a tapered wood in between. The difference this time is to leave more wood outside the rim. This is where I will cut the required Ogee curve for the challenge. Now for the Ogee curve, but first engage the live center for UFO prevention. An Ogee curve is a bead blending to a cove. I mark where the blend area will happen at the halfway point between the rim and the outer diameter. Then cut the cove outside the line and immediately blend in the bead. Then refine the area into a pleasing curve. After sanding, I am applying wipe-on poly. This does not dry as fast as shellac, so I will have to let it dry overnight before I can proceed. I will apply a second coat later, after the project is finished. To prepare for splitting the wood into two platters, I am starting with a parting tool. I cannot make the entire cut with this tool. It is simply too deep and unsafe. So, with the cut marked, I move to the bandsaw. The groove gives me a nice target for the blade. My jig holds the wood that is still in my chuck to avoid having to remount and take additional variation in the process. I sell a knob on my Etsy site that mates to the chuck through the jig's upright. Now to hollow the platter. I will do most of the work with my bowl gouge. However, I am keeping the live center engaged. Without the live center, heavy pressure from the bowl gouge, especially at a distance from the center outside the jaws, there is a strong tendency to observe a UFO. Since I would rather not observe UFOs, I keep it engaged until I have to tool the center. Then I will use much lighter cuts at the very center. Finally, I switch to a heavy bowl scraper for the final cleanup. After sanding, I can apply a first coat of wipe-on poly to the top side. After it dries, I will remount using the mortise, smooth it with fine sandpaper or a fiber pad, and apply a final coat of wipe-on poly. Et voila! The club challenge for an Ogee curved platter is answered. But better yet, I have a second platter nearly finished. This was mostly an exercise in a series of mounts, but a good exercise at that. Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my website as well as on YouTube. When you subscribe to my website, I email when there's a new video. This is a more reliable process than YouTube's wandering algorithmic recommendations. Please share my videos with your friends. I try to keep them short and to the point. I appreciate your comments and questions. Please wear your full face shield whenever the lathe is running.